President Swigert, I declare that the 151st commencement of the University at Albany State University of New York baccalaureate ceremony is now in session. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem, which will be led by the University Community Chorale, David Griggs Janauer, director, accompanied by the Commencement Wind Ensemble Professor Henry M. Carr, director. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be offered by Rabbi Moshe Baumzer of the congregation Beth Abraham Jacob in Albany. At the conclusion of the invocation, please remain standing to observe a moment of silence for Jean-Pierre Caniaras, a member of the class, and all the members of the university community who passed away this year.
Spirit of life, who gives life and makes for goodness, we humbly present ourselves before you. We've gathered today to give recognition to the more than 2,600 individuals who have achieved the title graduate. We give thanks and appreciation to those who have been partners in these endeavors and have given these men and women an opportunity to reach this milestone in their educational lives. Their parents, families, administration, faculty, and staff of the New York State University campus here in our capital city of Albany. We recognize that you, God Almighty, has granted us the opportunity and has mandated us with the responsibility to harness the fullness of the world, to strive to reach both personal and collective potential in all that we do. In a world besieged with contradictions, conflicts, and confusions, we ask you, O Lord, to give help to these men and women. Let them have the conviction to make proper choices so that they can live productive and successful lives. Provide them with values to choose positively and reject actions and substances which would hold them back from being all that they can be. Give them the fortitude to develop ideals and goals that will benefit all mankind. Grant them the dedication to work at these ideals and goals constantly throughout their lives. Give them the strength to do battle with difficulties and to overcome them. Instill enough love in them so that they will be moved enough to be useful and helpful to others. Give them enough hope to remove all anxious fears regarding their future. Give them the ability to advocate on behalf of a just and honest society. Make them caring and concerned for the welfare of all people, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, gender, or age. Give them the courage to speak out for justice and compassion wherever it might apply, in the family, in the workplace, in a house of worship, or in the world in which we live. Move them to welcome all the marvelous, colorful, contentious diversity of all of our people and grow within them a rainbow soul, while implanting within them a pride and identity of who they are. May this prayer and all prayers offered today unite with those who supplicate for a world of peace, compassion, love, and kindness, to those who work towards these ideals. May these young people see the fruits of their labors, and may they succeed in leaving behind achievements on behalf of others, which will serve as a token of appreciation and gratitude for having been allowed to live on this planet Earth. May God bless them with the health and the happiness, the prosperity and the opportunity to always be glad. May they be at peace with themselves and with the world. Amen.
Please be seated. So much for the order. Colleagues, distinguished guests, Rabbi Bomzer, and thank you for that prayer, Reverend clergy, members of the University Council, parents, family members, loved ones, and friends, and especially members of the graduating class of 1995 of the University of Albany, I salute you. Before we proceed any further, I'm going to ask the members of the graduating class of 1995 to rise as one to salute your parents, your loved ones, your friends, your neighbors, your spouses, your children, all of those who've made today possible for you. Please rise and do so. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the 151st commencement of the University at Albany. On behalf of the faculty and administrative staff of the University at Albany, it is my distinct honor and great pleasure to welcome you to this ceremony, a ceremony which offers a cause for celebration for so many, many reasons. Let me begin by acknowledging and thanking the Commencement Wind Ensemble, directed by Professor Henry Carr, and the members of the University Community Chorale, David Griggs Jenner, our director, from whom we'll be hearing more from shortly. Thank you. It is also my pleasure to introduce to you the members of the Platform Party. First, the members of the University Council, private citizens all who serve without compensation for the betterment of this great institution. The individuals appointed by the governor have brought great oversight, great insight, and great dedication to their task. First, the chair, the Honorable John E. Holt Harris, Jr., A. Reader Chandelier Glavin, Esquire, Richard A. Hanf, Esquire, Athena C. Correa, Esquire, Athena V. Lord, Martha W. Miller, Carolyn Gillis Wellington, Mr. Lawrence Kaufman, representing the students, Vivian Hillier Thorne, representing alumni and alumnae, and Professor Judith Baskin, Professor of Judaic Studies, representing the faculty. Would they please rise so they may be acknowledged? The vice presidents and deans of the university whose names are listed also warrant our appreciation and great thanks. And the rest of the members of the Platform Party will be introduced to you shortly. There's also a community of persons who warrant our acknowledgement, recognition, and thanks. The members of our faculty, both our teaching and non-teaching faculty. Please join me, class, in acknowledging the members of our faculty. Our ceremony today is a celebration of achievement and a more serious moment as well, marking the passage of these wonderful members of the class of 1995 from this institution to the next stages of their lives. It has become something of a truism at commencements to say to graduates that you live in an uncertain time. But truism notwithstanding, the 1990s are an uncertain and challenging time. We've seen in recent years, in places both far and very near, the symptoms of fear and pessimism, in acts of violence, in the rhetoric of hatred, and in public policy of exclusion and exclusivity. You will be tempted, as we all are, to retreat from this into your own life, to keep yourself safe, your own well-being intact, your own interests uppermost. You will be tempted to defer your compassions for others until you have become safe and secure yourselves. Today, I want to urge you to do something I have said many times before. In fact, I said at our first-year convocation. Do not defer your compassion for others. Your well-being is inextricably connected to the well-being of your community, and you've had the benefit of an outstanding public education, a benefit I hope you will use for others as well as for yourselves. Having said all that, I can also say that I am optimistic that you will be compassionate and put the community ahead of yourself. And the beach balls have gotten considerably smaller over time. Because many of you have already shown me that compassion and commitment through your achievements and through your contributions to our university community and the community beyond are indeed the hallmark of this great class. Now let me take a moment to describe just some of the students who are graduating today and let their achievements stand as testimony to the richness of the class of 1995. I would ask that the students whose names I call stand when I do so. And in acknowledging these students, we acknowledge you all. First to be acknowledged are the honorary flag bearers today. Cindy Al, a member of Purple and Gold and a resident assistant, and a teaching assistant in geography. And Michelle Smith, and Christy Squires, co-captains of the women's basketball team. And Parag Condor of the Student Association. And the graduating seniors and the graduating seniors in the Presidential Honor Society, an organization of scholarship also devoted to community service. Michael Poveda, co-chair of the Presidential Honor Society. Robin Niedenthal, who's co-chairperson of Camp Out for a Cure. Jean Cartermanche, Olivier Proc, Rahul Rodriguez, Melissa Stone, Renee Tobin, Christy Tumanello, Richard Bona, and Craig Weinberg. And from our Student Association, our president and chair of our Central Council, who contributed so much to making this a real community, Alexandra Blaine. Erin Bolton, who has assisted our resident students during her 3 years working in residential life. And resident assistants, Marcia Nichols, Jennifer Montari, Nicole Gallup, and Eva Spears. And Josh Holzer, who has been on the Campus Committee for Academic Conduct and the Judicial Board for 3 years. And William Tong, President of the Asian American Alliance and Vice President of Delta Sigma Pi. Christine Boyle, a psychology major and President of Middle Earth Peer Counseling Service. Patricia Graham, a political science major, resident assistant, and member of Purple and Gold. Ed Manning, with dual majors in physics and Russian, who has been a Purple and Gold member, dispute mediator, and is headed for the Marine Corps Officer Candidate School following commencement. And Alfred Guyton, a social welfare major and community leader, who is co-founder of an after-school program for teenage children at the Whitney Young Health Center. Sandra Sorger, member of Purple and Gold and a leader in Chapel House. Jenny Esteral, sorority president and former Central Council member. Bess John, Student Association Women's Issues Director and member of Purple and Gold. Mike Sestoni, former IFC Vice President and former President of Delta Upsilon, active in WCDB-FM, our own radio station. Jason Herman, a member of Phi Kappa Sigma fraternity and former Rush Chair for IFC. Ed Liao, Business Administration Major, former President of the Chinese Student Association. Aaron Russell, President of the Albany Crew, with dual majors in Sociology and Political Science. Ted Hotailing, History major, member of Purple and Gold, captain and leading scorer for the men's basketball team. And David Zuckley, cum laude. And Brandon Zuckley. And Jason Ferrier. Stacy Strong, a history major, has been an orientation assistant, university tour guide, and facilitator for the National Coalition Building Institute. And Osamo Thomas, an assistant in the Campus Life office. James C., a member of the Multicultural Student Advisory Council. Debbie Martin and Josh Landau, outstanding students and volunteers in the School of Business. And Elisa Gindi, an honors business student who joins her brother and her cousin as Albany graduates. Andy Shine, Albany's top male scholar athlete with a 3.69 GPA, and Kimberly Toon, Albany's top female scholar athlete with a 3.76 GPA. Melinda Cook Carpenter, winner of a Spelman Award for Excellence with a 3.96 GPA in psychology, who set an NC2A Division III strikeout record in softball. Congratulations. And Allison Dermy, a Phi Beta Kappa student who's worked at the U Kids Daycare Center since the day it all opened. And Katina Brownsis, Purple and Gold member who helped get U Kids off the ground. Now, and of course, in addition to these remarkable achievements, many members of the class of 1995 have enjoyed outstanding academic success as well. As you can see by those participating in the beach ball exercise, not all. One member of the graduating class is graduating today with a 4.0 average after 4 years at Albany. Would the real Linda M. Bettner please stand? Four other students have also earned 4.0 averages at Albany after transferring here. They are Rachel Gould, Constance Hanley, Steve Madore, and Roberta Vogel, and many other students have demonstrated outstanding abilities in their major fields. Helga Wagner, a criminal justice student selected by the faculty for the Donald Newman Award. Russ Hubert, in East Asian Studies. Jose Colon, a business major with a concentration in finance and a 3.91 GPA. Yet to be touched by an honors graduate. Melvin Childs. Social welfare major and a single parent who has been recognized for his academic ability with awards from the Disabled Student Services Organization. And Suzanne Fiscarelli, a mother of 4 who is graduating today with a 3.8 GPA. And Robert Noel, a political science major who rose to the challenge after a very difficult start here in Albany and who's been on the Dean's List every semester since his return. And Augustus Prescott Gaylord, a public affairs major who during his internship with the State Department of Environmental Conservation developed a program for the environmentally safe disposition of state vehicles. William Caffis, George McIntosh, and Alan Backman, outstanding mathematics majors. Larry Dworkin, Heidi Gunlock, and Michael Jones, top students in physics. Joanne Alperstein, Catherine Hawkins, and Whitney Phelps, cited by the faculty in Women's Studies. Mike Ticko, a biochemistry major and winner of the Barry Goldwater Scholarship, who will be attending graduate school at Johns Hopkins in the fall. And biology major John Anderson, who also played the lead role in the University musical last fall. French majors Alexandra Snide, Richard Vona, and Cynthia Brockway, who have all been elected to Phi Beta Kappa. Brad Galloway, who has a straight A average in philosophy. Mark Nevin and Claudia Miranda, outstanding students in history. Lisa Merrill and Barbara Mopsick, top sociology majors. Michelle Barron, an outstanding Judaic Studies student. Mark Dalton in classics, who produced a Greek prose phrase book. Sheila Ramirez and Holt Mene in Spanish, both of whom worked very hard against difficult challenges to be with us today. And Royal Brown in art, who's produced a distinguished body of 3-dimensional work. And finally, Keisha Gordon and Mustafa Talib in Africana Studies. Now let me acknowledge all of our students today who are graduating with honors. We begin with those students who are graduating cum laude. Would you please rise? Our cum laude graduates. Our students who are graduating magna cum laude, would you please rise? And finally, our students who are graduating summa cum laude, would you please rise? Again, congratulations to all of you, and congratulations again as well to our parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, family members, and friends who share today's achievements with your students. I'd like to take a moment to extend special greetings to members. I'd like to take a moment to extend special greetings to members of our Parents Forum who are with us today. And in doing so, I would remind the graduates that your parents are watching. I'd first like to acknowledge Martin Brenner, whose daughter Rachel is graduating today. I'd like to continue. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to continue, if I may. Karen and Daniel Covet, whose son Larry Covet is president of 5 Quad, is with us today. Elizabeth and Robert Casagrande, whose daughter Beth graduates today. Elena and Anthony Lavalas, whose daughter Romana graduates today. Sandra and Henry Tanners, who are co-chairs of the Parents Forum, and their son Adam, who graduates today. And all the parents, we congratulate each and every one of you, and thank you so much for giving us the opportunity, indeed the privilege, of spending time with your children. Now, before we continue, I would like to extend a personal word of thanks to each and every one of you and all the members of the faculty and the University Council, the alumni, and all who've made my tenure here at the University at Albany the most important time of my life. Thank you. That's it. Okay, that's it. You may now sit down. Thank you. To bring greetings on behalf of the faculty, I'm pleased to reintroduce to many of you one of our most popular members of the faculty, popular because of his knowledge, his skill, his commitment to each and every one of you in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. Professor V. Mark Duran of the Department of Psychology.
Good morning. Thank you, President Swigert, for warming up the crowd so nicely. It really is a great honor. I'm not handing out the final until you're quiet. It really is a great honor and a pleasure to be here to offer you greetings from the faculty. Thank you. I should tell you I have actually 3 speeches, but I will only read one of them. Thank you. The first one was rather formal, and I decided that really wasn't me. So I consulted with my favorite advisor, who's actually sitting over there, my 10-year-old son, Jonathan, who said, he's beet red now. He said, "Be yourself, Dad, be funny." So I wrote a second speech, which was the funny speech, which I actually won't read the whole thing of that either, but I just wanted to give you a piece. It was a dictionary of Albany speak. This is for your family members. And a couple of entries were the word podiate, which for family members is a verb, such as, "I'm going to spend the whole afternoon podiating." And for your family who may hear that, that means that you'll be spending the afternoon in the library. Just another entry was the phrase "to blow off," as in, "I'm going to blow off my morning class." And again, so there's no ambiguity, that means that you spend the night studying for that overnight class. But my real talk actually is a little bit more serious. It's some thoughts on my own graduation, which was about 20 years ago. You're supposed to say, "Oh my goodness, you look too young." Thank you. About 20 years ago at State University of New York at Stony Brook, I attended graduation. And like you, it was a joyous time for me, but it was also a time of mixed emotions because my father was absent. In my junior year, my father unexpectedly, without any illness, died, passed away. So at graduation, this was the first family occasion where he was absent. So on one hand, people were quite happy to be there to congratulate me on my accomplishments like they are for you. On the other hand, he was quite missed. And so when I attend graduations now, I think of him because, for example, he was a very honest man. When he died, they audited our taxes. And the IRS was astonished that my father had receipts for everything he had ever spent money on, including 10 cents for something. He also was a man who saw the good in everybody. And in these times, sometimes it's difficult to do that. He was an artist at doing that. He was also someone who appreciated what he had. We lived on Long Island. In a little home that when he bought, it was $9,000. He traveled 2 hours each way to New York City. Traveled 2 hours each way to New York City to earn money for our family, and we succeeded. So what I'd like you to do today is do me a favor. Today, tomorrow, this week, next week, people will be congratulating you. They'll be hugging you. You'll have an aunt that'll pinch your cheeks. Appreciate it. Revel in it. Appreciate the attention. Appreciate this fleeting moment when you'll be able to share this joyous occasion with people that you love. Thank you. 20 years, I still have a hard time. To close, I'd like you to take with you also the knowledge that a part of you leaves this university, and a part of us should go with you, and that there'll always be a welcome place for you at this university in our hearts. So once again, on behalf of the faculty, I offer heartfelt congratulations on behalf of your accomplishments, and the sincerest best wishes for your continuing success. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Duran. Our student welcome will be offered by Mr. Larry D. Stern, President of the class of 1995, an English major from Commack, New York. Mr. Stern.
Good morning, President Swigert, members of the platform, family and friends, and members of the class of 1995. The word commencement is defined in Webster's dictionary as a beginning. It seems that every time we finish something, we are awaiting a new beginning. We went from little block players in kindergarten through elementary school, where we finally got to be one of the big kids, only to enter junior high as a little freshman once again. This has gone on all of our lives, and today we have finally surpassed the most difficult and important step on the ladder, that of college. When we came up to Albany freshman year, all of us were a bit frightened and apprehensive, but most of all, we were excited for the future. Our expectations could not have been higher. And then, as soon as we all had entered this school together as one class, the class of 1995, we separated. Scouring the dorms freshman year looking for new people to befriend, we all had our own way of letting the University at Albany know that we were here and we were ready. Many people enter the political atmosphere on campus, running for central council or quad board in their first weeks at school. Some pledged fraternities or sororities, and some made their mark on the athletic field. And we have all passed each other day after day and opened our eyes to at least recognize the possibilities that we had and the choices we have made at this university. I personally may have chosen a different path than you, and you a different one than the person sitting beside you today, but that is not relevant in the grand scheme of things. Of course, when I look back on college, I will have fond memories of my time with the class council and my fraternity, Alpha Epsilon Pi. But that is not all. I will picture today, right here, right now, in front of me, my best friends in the world, my family, my fellow graduates, coming together in celebration of the pinnacle of our academic career, college graduation. I look and see many familiar faces. Some have just passed me by and smiled, while others I've shared my life with. We've been thrown into our own little world for 4 years, and it will be difficult leaving it. I used to think of myself as independent, but to look around and see your faces and to remember the moments we've shared, the good and the bad, I realize how completely dependent I am upon you all. We have turned to each other in times of crisis and times of glory, and if you asked me to trade 1 minute of these years, I would not have the heart. We all are one. We began as random faces in the crowd playing the name game on orientation or gawking awkwardly at our roommate freshman year. But today, we all stand together as one, the class of 1995. I would now like to thank a man to whom this university is forever indebted. H. Patrick Swigert has been a leader and role model to his students and faculty alike, and this university has its work cut out for them finding a successor to such a stellar president and man. Good luck at Howard University, President Swigert. I wish you all the best of luck, and from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank my mom and dad, without whom I would not be graduating today. I love you. Thank you.
Larry, thank you very much. Each year, the University at Albany honors members of the faculty with the designation Collins Fellows. The Collins Award is designed to recognize faculty members who, over a sustained period of time, devotion to the university and the people in it. The award bears the name of Evan R. Collins, who was president of this institution from 1949 to 1969 and led Albany's transition from a college to a university. The award is dedicated to his memory and to the standard of devotion to this university that he has left as his legacy. This year's recipients of the Collins Awards are colleagues of many years' standing who have met these high standards of university citizenship. Each will be introduced by a member of the University Council. The first Collins Fellows Award winner will be introduced by University Council member Richard A. Hamp, Esquire of Troy, New York. Mr. Hamp.
Thank you, President Swigert. The first 1995 Collins Fellow is Judith Baskin, Professor and Chair of Judaic Studies. I ask her to rise and step forward. Professor Judith Baskin has been Chair of the Department of Judaic Studies since she joined the University at Albany faculty in 1988. In that time, she has demonstrated an outstanding record of accomplishment in all the areas that mark a faculty member at a research university. First, her superior commitment to teaching has been acknowledged by presentation to her of both the University Award for Excellence in Teaching and the Chancellor's Award. Second, her scholarship includes completion of her fourth book, Women of the Word, Jewish Women and Jewish Writing, and she has been active in her discipline nationally. Finally, she has been an integral part of the university at the Albany community, serving with distinction on governance bodies and administrative committees. Most importantly, Professor Baskin has been an influential and visionary leader in creating on campus a spirit of a unified community that recognizes and celebrates the richness of our diversity and the common bonds that unite us as a community. Professor Baskin was one of the organizers and an active participant in the first Campus Together Day this past year, and the author of its mission statement, which reads in part as follows. While we joyfully acknowledge that we are a community of unique and complex individuals representing diverse backgrounds, ethnic and racial origins, religious beliefs, and sexual orientations, we are also mindful that we are here because of a shared sense of purpose. What brings us together is the conviction that education matters, that through learning and teaching, we transform ourselves and the world in which we live. Through her work and her contributions, Professor Baskin lives these words each day, and so the university salutes her and names her a 1995 Collins Fellow. Congratulations, Mazel Tov.
Thank you very much.
The second Collins Fellow will be introduced by Athena C. Correa, Esquire of Schenectady, a member of the University Council. Mrs. Correa.
The second 1995 Collins Fellow is Daniel L. Wolf, Professor of Biological Sciences. I ask him to rise and step forward. Thank you. Professor Wolf joined the university in 1980 and led the university's College of Science and Mathematics as dean for 12 years. His responsibilities were considerable: oversight of 130 faculty and development of world-class science and mathematical programs, all of which he performed with distinction. Yet throughout his tenure then, and since his return to full-time faculty responsibilities, Professor Wolf has also set a standard for faculty mentorship of students. Among his many mentoring activities, visible and less visible, are his leadership of the Science Technology Entry Program, a state program through which 50 high school students from historically underrepresented groups receives special mentoring and tutoring assistance. He is also chair of the Collegiate Science Technology Entry Program, which enrolls over 200 university students from underrepresented groups studying science and math, and he himself mentors most of his biology majors. In addition, he is founder and director of the University Program in Biological Sciences Education funded by the Howard Hughes Medical, through which he helped to establish the Science Longhouse, a special residence for science majors where he continues to serve as mentor. He has also created or serves on several community-based outreach programs in the sciences, including the organization of the Upstate New York Junior Sciences and Humanities Symposium and the Science, Technology, and Mathematics Mentoring Network. For his tireless dedication to students enrolled in the sciences and for his outstanding outreach to those students beyond the boundaries of the campus, the University of Albany proudly awards the 1995 Collins Award to Professor Daniel Wolf.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker for this morning's ceremony, Mr. Juan Williams. Juan Williams, political analyst for the Washington Post, is one of the nation's leading political writers and thinkers. During his 18-year career at the Post, Mr. Williams has served as an editorial writer, columnist, and White House reporter, and a national correspondent as well. In addition, he has appeared on numerous television programs, and you may have seen him as recently as yesterday evening on Nightline, or on Arsenio, or Oprah, or CNN's Crossfire, where he frequently serves as a substitute host. In addition to his outstanding journalism career, Mr. Williams is the author of the nonfiction bestseller, Eyes on the Prize, America's Civil Rights Years 1954 to 1965, the outstanding companion volume to the critically praised PBS series. For that work, Mr. Williams has received a number of awards, including an Emmy Award in 1989. He has also received an honorary degree from the State University of New York. Currently, he is at work on his second book, a biography of the late Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. A frequent lecturer on college campuses and professional organizations, Mr. Williams always identifies the important questions and offers an insightful and provocative analysis in offering some of the answers. I am delighted that he is able to share his thoughts with the class of 1995 and family and friends on the subject, where do we go from here? It is my great pleasure to ask you to join me in welcoming our friend and today's keynote speaker, Mr. Juan Williams. Mr. Williams.
Thank you very much. You know, I guess we could play like a game of imagination, and if that was the case, I would be a goalie for the River Rats, and you guys as Great Danes would be on some sort of power play, and guess what? You score, you graduate, congratulations. You know, as I look out upon this audience here today, I feel as if I'm looking out on the people of the 21st century. Because here today you have people who are first-generation college graduates, you have people who have worked while they've been in school, people who have come back to school, people who have come here for continuing education programs, large numbers of women, increasing numbers of minorities. Really, this is a very special school. And in its 151 years, it's become a beacon to all the nation of affordable public education. And I hope you understand how miraculous this school's existence is in this day of budget cuts, and I hope that you work to protect it in the future. Now, I don't remember much about what the keynote speaker said at my graduation. I do remember that he did one very nice thing. He was brief. And you've invited the right person to be brief. I say you've invited the right person because, you know, journalists are trained to keep it short. We once had an obituary writer at the Post. He was an intern for the summer, and I asked him to do an obituary that came in at 7 o'clock on deadline, and he wrote something like this. It said, John Jones looked into the open shaft to see if the elevator was coming. It was age 45. So I don't know if I can be that brief, but I'm going to try. Let me begin by saying that on this happy day, congratulations to parents, to spouses, friends, the children of the graduates. You really should be bursting with pride to have given this generation in your family such a fine college education. Sacrifices have had to be made to pay bills, to offer encouragement, to be there to tell some of these young people that their grandparents could not have dreamed of getting such a fine, first-rate education as the one they have received at the University of Albany. Our greatest teachers, it said, are our parents. Someone said it's the case that one father is worth more than 100 schoolmasters, and an ounce of mom is worth a ton of priest. So, to the parents, congratulations. And let me add to the parents that you should realize that life does not begin at the moment of conception, nor at the moment of birth. Life really begins when the kids finish college. And to you graduates, let me offer congratulations as well. You've made it to this day through late nights of study, sweaty palms during tests. You've made it. Congratulations, class of 1995. I've got to tell you that to this day, when I go back to my college, I'm always surprised that it's daytime, because usually I envision it as nighttime and I've got a test in the morning, and then I wake up from the nightmare. I'm out of school. So congratulations. As Larry Stern said, while some call this a graduation, signifying that you've completed your course of study, others call it a commencement, and I like to call it a commencement because that suggests to me that today you're commencing or beginning a new phase of life, beginning anew to use your intellectual powers, your spiritual powers, your power as committed people, if you will, caring people to shape this world. And really, it's up to you as the educated elite in this country now to go out and use your power to shape a better universe, because all of you graduates have been given an extraordinary gift. It's as if, well, let's say Ed McMahon knocked on your door this morning and said, congratulations, you've won the Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Here's your $10 million. You have a fine education that you can build on. Now, some people, if they won the lottery or Ed McMahon knocked at the door, would take that money and go down to the mall, and they might buy some beer and some pantyhose and some cigarettes. But there are others who would take that money and invest for the future. People who would buy land, people who would buy a house, who would invest in businesses, people who would build for the future. And I hope that you, all of you graduating today, are those people. So I ask, in this life you commence today, what are you after? Will you seek fame? Will you seek wealth? Will you seek power? Well, let's look at fame first. There's an old Washington joke that goes, you know you're famous if the president invites you to the Oval Office. And another person says, no, that's not fame. You know you're famous if the president invites you to the Oval Office and the red phone behind him rings and he doesn't answer it. And then someone else says, no, that's not fame. Real fame is when the president invites you to the Oval Office and the red phone behind him rings and he picks it up and says, it's for you. But you know, fame can be fleeting if you pursue it. It really is the case that there's so many has-beens in this world, famous actors, boxers, politicians, who've lost it for some reason, and I don't think anything can be more defeating than fame. If you look at some of the people who've been caught in the spotlight of fame, the Ted Kennedys or the Nancy Reagans, you see how human flaws can be magnified by that glaring spotlight.
So I can't advise you to seek fame as an end. Will you seek wealth? Well, let's look again at our modern world for examples. If you stop for a second and think of Alton Ames, the spy who decided that he would sell his country for money, I think you have an example of what that can lead to. You look at the troubled Mr. Trump, or the millionaires Tyson, O.J. Simpson, Madonna, and Canseco. Are we laughing with them or at them? If you look at the 80s Wall Street crowd, the Millicans, you can understand that greed can lead to jail. Money can be trouble. And you have to understand, of course, that I'm not saying that you can live without money. Money is a powerful tool, but only if it is connected to a higher purpose. Only if it is an inspiration. But for too many people realize that they've had it after they've made it. Too many people realize that the money stacks up and suddenly they find themselves disconnected from others. Because even a lowly penny, if held closely enough to your eye, can blind you to the brightest star. So I wouldn't advise you to seek money in an end, as an end in itself. Instead, I would say, reach inside. Look to your own potential. Find and use your education to become a power that makes a difference, a power that opens minds, opens opportunities, opens yourself to the satisfaction of doing God's work, changing this world for the better, making yourself a stronger person. This is not necessarily an easy task today, because as you graduate, you go into a job market at a time that is tough for the economy. Employers are downsizing. Millions of jobs have left the economy recently. Every month or so we hear about people who are cutting jobs in this global economy with the passage of NAFTA and GATT. How will you respond to this? With sadness, emotional depression, lowered expectations for yourself? I hope not. Think back to your grandparents and great-grandparents who faced the world at your age without a college degree, who had to confront the Great Depression of the 30s, World War II, Korea, or Vietnam. Think of the world 30 years ago for blacks or for women. Every generation has had its challenges to leap. Don't allow yourself the poisonous luxury of saying, I can't do it. You will do it. You will find a way. With your education, it's your turn to make history. In the last year that you've been here at the university, we've seen some amazing history whip by us. Jacqueline Onassis has died. Richard Nixon. Ralph Ellison, who wrote what I think is the greatest novel of this century, Invisible Man, died. Really now, you can see so much history pass, but at this moment, we can see even more as we look back out over this century, because 50 years ago, you could see the end of World War II, or you could see the death of President Roosevelt, or 40 years ago, you could see the Supreme Court rule in Brown versus Board of Education that segregation was no longer to be the law of this land. And if you look back about 25 years, you can see Kent State, you can see the end of the Vietnam War, you can see Watergate. And now, from this perch in 1995, as we look forward to the next century, we can see tremendous tides of immigrants coming to these shores. We can see an economy in change. We can see the demographics of the society in flux. So really, it's up to you to use your talent, intelligence, and perseverance to be rewarded in this society. Because America does reward great energy. That is the promise of America, and that promise will be delivered to you. Let me offer just one warning. Economic difficulties can make people bitter. There can be finger pointing, and finger pointing will start at the poor, at minorities, at immigrants, or even at the government. And there are politicians only too happy to tell us that it's those people over there who are to be blamed for all that is going wrong, for the drugs, for the crime, for the high taxes. Whites can blame blacks, blacks can blame whites, immigrants can be blamed, the poor and even the rich. Bitterness can explode as it did in Oklahoma City. As educated people, you are leaders. Use your educated mind to think critically. People are now watching you, hoping that you will offer them a model of what it means to be an educated American. They look to you to think honestly, to speak critically, but with heart about what matters in this society. I would urge you, as you become leaders in this region, in this state, and in this nation, to use your powers of education to inspire others and not to lead them to the kind of drama and tragedy that we saw in Oklahoma City. People are looking to you for strength. And so avoid being self-defeating. Be mentally tough. You can do it. Don't give up. You are the kind of people who, when given lemons, make lemonade. You're the kind of people who I think, if surrounded by alligators, start thinking about the price of alligator purses. You're the kind of people who would come across a blind kid and understand that he has the potential to be a Stevie Wonder. You would come across a kid who was deaf and say that might be the great musician Beethoven. Or you would run into a little black kid in the ghettos of Washington and say, your teachers say you're educated, but I understand that you love basketball, and one day you might rise to be a great basketball coach at Georgetown like John Thompson. You've got to be that kind of tough. See the goodness and greatness and the potential in people. Because for all of you as graduates, 7 days is not about a pay period, and your education here at Albany is not about getting a job or a car or a house. It really has to be a case that you take off those blinders and see yourself in a wider role as people who can make a difference, people who can help someone, who can love someone, who can lead a revolution. You can and you will make a difference. You know, sometimes people say to me, why did you call that book Eyes on the Prize? And I tell them it comes from an old gospel song that goes, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on, hold on. I know the one thing I did right was the day I started to fight, hold on. And what I'm saying to all of you on this glorious day of your graduation is that you have to understand that you graduate into a larger fight. You are people who have to become fighters, who have to become history makers. You have to be people who bring back to this school a sense of purpose when you visit in the future. Because so much is resting on your shoulders this day. So much has been invested in you to bring you to this point, and now it's time for the payoff. So congratulations to you all, and have a happy life. Thank you.
Mr. Williams, thank you so much. This is a class, Mr. Williams, that will take your message to heart, along with the message delivered so beautifully by Rabbi Bomzer. Both of you addressed our need to seek a higher plane, and I thank you. And I want to thank the class for your patience. In just a few moments, we will proceed to the conferral of degrees. Before we do, it is now my pleasure to introduce again the University Community Chorale, which will perform the Hallelujah Chorus in celebration of the class of 1995.
Thank you, Professor Janauer, and all the members of the chorale. Just wonderful. We now move to the centerpiece of our commencement ceremony, the conferral of degrees. I am Karen Hitchcock, Vice President of Academic Affairs, and on behalf of the faculty, I salute each of our graduates today for your achievement. We hope you have attained your educational goals and above all else, have come to know the true value of learning, indeed the love of learning during your time with us. President Swigert, before I invite you to confer the baccalaureate degrees upon the graduates of the class of 1995, it is my pleasure to introduce these students to you by major and to invite all present to acknowledge their achievement. Therefore, at this time, I will announce groups of undergraduate majors and ask bachelor candidates in these particular majors to rise and be acknowledged by this gathering. Please hold your applause until the entire group of majors has been called. The first group of undergraduate majors is African and Afro-American Studies, Anthropology, Asian Studies, East Asian Studies, Economics, Geography, Latin American Studies, Russian and East European Studies, Puerto Rican Studies, and Social Studies. Will bachelor candidates with the majors I have just named rise? Congratulations to you all. Please be seated. The next group of majors is History, Rhetoric and Communication, and Sociology. Will all of you please rise? Congratulations to you all. Please be seated. The next group of majors: Atmospheric Science, Computer Science and Applied Math, Mathematics, Physics, and Geology. Will all of you please rise to be congratulated? The next group of majors: Biology, Chemistry, Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, Medical Technology, Earth Science, and Human Biology. Will all of you please rise to be congratulated? Now, will the bachelor's candidates with the major in English please rise and be congratulated? Please be seated. Will bachelor candidates with majors in accounting and business please rise? Congratulations. Please be seated. Will bachelor candidates with the major in psychology please rise? Congratulations. Please be seated. The next group of undergraduate majors includes art history studies, medieval and Renaissance studies, music, theater, Judaic studies, Philosophy and Religious Studies. Will all of you rise to be congratulated? Please be seated. The next group of majors: Chinese Studies, Greek, Greek and Roman Civilization, Latin, French, Japanese Studies, German, Italian, Spanish, Russian, Women's Studies, Linguistics, Mediterranean Archaeology, and Interdisciplinary Studies. Will all of you rise to be congratulated? The final group of undergraduate majors is Public Affairs, Political Science, Social Welfare, Criminal Justice, Information Science. Will all of you please rise together and be congratulated?
International relations, interdisciplinary and international relations. That was crossed out of the script.
Yeah.
Read it anyway.
Congratulations to all our graduating seniors. I now ask all candidates for the degrees Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science to rise for the conferral of the degree. President Swigert, these candidates have completed a program broadly based in the fundamental fields of the arts and sciences, with specialized study in one of the academic disciplines of the humanities, fine arts, natural sciences, mathematics, social and behavioral sciences, business, criminal justice, public affairs, information science, or social welfare. In the name of these faculties, I have the honor of presenting these candidates to you, that you may confer upon them the degree Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science as appropriate.
I have asked Judge John E. Holt Harris, Jr., Chair of the University Council, to stand with me as I confer the degrees you so richly deserve and worked so hard to earn. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the State of New York, and the trustees of the State University of New York, and with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science as earned. Congratulations, and we salute you. To all the graduates of the University at Albany, for 1995, please accept the warm congratulations and best wishes of us all. Now please rise for the singing of the alma mater, which is printed on the back cover of your program. The alma mater will be led by the University Community Chorale.
Would you please clear the aisles so that the platform party can recess? Thank you very much. Would you please clear the aisles for just a moment? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this ceremony, please remain in your seats until the platform party has left the arena. Following the recessional, President Swigert will return to the stage area for photographs with those graduates who wish to remain. President Swigert, I declare that the 151st commencement of this university is now concluded.